What's up, guys? Welcome back to our Pirates rebuild in OOTP 26. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We last left off kind of agonizing over who to choose with our third round pick in the draft. And I guess before we even recap, I guess I wanted to just thank you guys for bearing with me as I figure this thing out. I'm sort of learning as I make these what to cut, what's interesting to see, and what maybe I should leave off camera. So I think last episode went pretty long, and there's a lot of trade finder just staring going on there. So I'll try to be more mindful of that moving forward and cut all of that stuff out and sort of jump around to the more interesting parts of the series to hopefully make these videos a little bit shorter and more digestible. But with all that said, the plan for today is just going to be to review the draft, and then I'll kind of cut it there. We'll move along to the All-Star break, see who gets selected from our team, and then move toward the trade deadline. So should be a pretty tight episode. Not a lot of I'm looking at this draft list. I don't think we had any huge late round steals. But if you didn't make it to the end of last video, Quentin Young was our first selection. I sort of think of him as the long-term plan at third base once Ke'Bryan Hayes sort of moves on, and then maybe there's an outside chance he could play shortstop for us with that huge arm. It really just depends how his development goes, but when we're picking inside the top 10, I think I'm looking for superstar, upside, and I hopefully think we have that here with Quentin Young. So we're super excited to have him on board. Our second pick, this is where we start getting into the homer picks. I think I mentioned I went to University of Tennessee in the last episode, and I didn't even clock that we took two guys from there back to back. So Dean Curley was our first pick in round 2. It's honestly a very similar profile to Young. It's just that he's a little bit older and more developed. And I'm optimistic that maybe there is shortstop upside here with Curley. So I think our plan with him will probably be to attempt to give him run at shortstop. If we can get this up to a 60 in the range and error, we can improve that a bit. I think with this huge arm and the ability to turn double plays with the power in the bat, if he pans out as a shortstop, we've done really well with our second pick here. And he can be sort of fast-tracked a bit. He can already compete at A-ball level, so once we get him signed, we'll just push him immediately and see what the production looks like. After that, like I mentioned, another Tennessee guy, Nate Snead. This is maybe when I was rewatching the footage, I think maybe we could have gone a different direction here, but you like the 75 grade fastball. That can kind of carry things a bit. Not the best in terms of stamina, but with a 5-pitch mix, as long as these secondaries kind of improve, we like the control. I think I mentioned this BABIP thing maybe a little bit concerning, but he's young enough. I think there is upside here if we can get him to develop. And then the final pick we landed on was Gavin Turley, which after a ton of back and forth, we ended up taking. Definitely a strikeout risk, but what I did like about him is just the fielding upside of just having a young outfielder in the system that we feel confident in. Obviously we have Connor Griffin, but he's only 19 and likely pretty far away. So at the very least, we're getting a plus defender here with good range. 70 range is awesome, and then maybe he can spray some doubles into the gap. Don't love the low work ethic, but I think we're willing to live with that for the defensive upside. And another guy who may be ready for us pretty soon. So that's where we left off. we can go through these other guys briefly, but like I said, I don't know that any of them will be superstars. It kind of just depends on how the dice rolls with their development and our coaching. Our next pick in round 4 was actually this guy Finn McElroy, who, you're probably seeing that he's coming off of Tommy John surgery, so he needs 2 more months to come back from that. But I sort of thought this was a good buy low opportunity with an elite control attribute like that, and a 4-pitch mix with everything above average, average or slightly above. I think there is upside here. It's obviously risky, right? But at the same time, he's 6'6", 220. He's huge. There maybe is going to be a home run issue, but if this control does reach into the 70s or even 65, I think that's going to cover up a lot of his deficiencies. And he does have good stamina, and he's okay at holding runners for a starter. So I think we can dream on a little bit here. He's still pretty young, 21. So coming from a good school with a good competition level, I think we're betting on a bounce back from him. The next pick, round 5. This is someone who we looked at in round 3. We were sort of weighing him against Gavin Turley, and we ended up going for the defense. But this is just a straight corner outfield bat who has good BABIP potential. If this eye can get up to 50 with the 55 power, he could turn into something. We like that he's a line drive hitter. He's going to hit to the pull side with a good strong personality, and he's under 21. So he's nearly 21, but he's a little bit younger for a college prospect, and he's played against a great competition level in the ACC. So we're sort of spraying the board a bit with our college outfielders with Turley and Williams, and then sort of on the left side of the infield here with Young and Curley. After that, I would view these next couple guys as more like project-y. I think, everyone through the first 5 rounds, we could expect to contribute in the majors at some point. These next guys, we'll see. We ended up going catcher here with Adonis Guzman. I was sort of blinded by the personality, obviously, and then the 70-grade catching defense here. I think we maybe reached on him a bit, considering the bat is just pretty average across the board. But with defense like this, I didn't want to risk picking him later. And at the very least, he could have backup catcher upside for us down the road. We did take a couple of swings on riskier, high development risk high schoolers. We had looked at this guy, Brock Kettleson, in sort of the earlier rounds, and when I saw him still there in round 7, I figured why not? If the defense is already, pretty good with good range for a 17-year-old almost turning 18, and who knows what's going to happen with this bat, right? Everything in the 20s is sort of, it's not real yet. None of this is real until he starts to produce, and we also have low scouting accuracy. But you like that he doesn't put the ball on the ground too much. He's getting it in the air, and the defense is awesome with the speed. So maybe this turns into something. It's sort of a long-term play with Kettleson, but I felt like that was worth taking there. And then we go back to another college arm here. So we took Snead early with our second round pick. Sort of a similar profile here, only a 4-pitch mix rather than 5. But you like the 55 BABIP. The control is borderline, but if all those pitches are above average, and maybe we can tap into a little more movement, there could be something here. I'm not banking on frontline starter with this guy or anything, but a back end of the rotation role is possible with him, and OSA is definitely lower on him. They have a much higher home run risk pegged to him, but with the high work ethic, who knows? Maybe Zane Petty can turn into something for us. We took a couple more developmental high school guys. Jacob Parker, love the physical attributes here, but again, similar to Kettleson, like he may be even further away and he's a year older. He does bring some corner infield versatility, and he does have a good personality. So all of this combined, who knows what we have here, but in the 9th round, you're kind of just looking for good potential. And similar story with this Eli Pitts guy. The power's never going to be there, right? But you love this 70 range in the outfield, and he is a clubhouse leader with good base running instincts. There's like positional flexibility here that we can tap into more. We can play him everywhere. I think he could be, in an ideal world, like just a utility plug and play kind of guy. And then maybe also worth highlighting this, we didn't take too many relievers, but this guy was a college arm from Texas A&M. We had him highly rated at a 55 grade potential, so to be able to get that in the 11th round is pretty awesome. Not the best stamina or best at holding runners, and only a 2-pitch guy, but it is, fastball cutter is a little different, or it plays a little different than fastball slider would. The cutter's a little more successful against opposite-handed hitters. So with the high work ethic and the IQ, there's a chance Luke Jackson actually does factor in for us down the road. As long as this movement comes along and the control can get up to at least maybe 40, we kind of maybe got a late round steal here. These other guys here we'll go through quick. Cole Klecker, super developmental, is a college arm, but doesn't bring much in terms of movement. I think what caught my eye was the stuff potential. He's a 4-pitch guy. We have him at 65 grade stuff, but OSA actually views him much higher. They have 50 grade on him, and view his stuff as even larger. But with the 40 control, maybe you're looking at a bullpen arm long term, even though he does have good stamina. This guy, Johnny Slowinski, this is just a mistake on my part. I didn't realize he was impossible to sign. I was just looking at the high school 18-year-old lefty pitcher with 60 stuff. But he's not going to work out for us because he wants upwards of $10 million as a 13th round pick, so that's a no. Brady Neal, another college catcher here, similar to the other guy we took, just great defense here. The bat is a little, if you were to compare them against the other catcher, the bat is a little weaker, but at the same time, love the personality, love the defense. He's just going to be a good guy to have in our organization. And then another college bat here, like a lefty JUCO first baseman, not too much in the contact department. I mean, if this were to all pan out perfectly, right, this is a MLB kind of guy with a huge power, but he didn't play against a great competition level at JUCO, so who knows if this is actually real or not. I guess we'll see. And then the last couple guys, Brock Blatter, college arm out of Southern California. Sort of at this point in the draft where, I was going to say we're drafting on personality. This pick doesn't necessarily reflect that, but we're looking for organizational depth to sort of, boost the quality of our minor league teams. If a guy has an elite trait, that's sort of what I'm looking for in the later rounds, or it's like, okay, he can at least do something for us. But mostly we're drafting on personality just to sort of build out, quality teams in our minor league system, so no one gets super upset that we're losing a ton of games. So these last few guys, we sort of just dipped into the college reliever pitcher market, and we'll see what ends up happening. But that was our draft. I'm super excited with these first two picks. I think in the short term, Curley could factor in the year or two. Maybe he's our shortstop, and then Young a little bit further down the road. And then we got some outfielders too in Turley and Williams. So maybe those guys factor as well. Our pitchers, Snead, McElroy, Petty. And then some long shots in Kettleson, Parker, and Pitts. So that's where we finished. We did end up saving, I guess, a lot of money. We had $15 million allocated to the draft, but our offers were only 12.1, so that brings us back into the positive here, which is awesome to see. And I guess next steps, we're going to work towards the All-Star break here. I'm not going to show that on camera. I'm going to cut it here, actually, and then kind of continue shopping players like IKF and Bednar off camera. But the next time I check in, we'll have the All-Stars announced, and we'll take a look at that, and I'll update you guys on any moves that I want to make. So I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We have some updates here. As you can see, it's July 16th, so we're past the All-Star game. We ended up taking 2 of 3 against Minnesota, and we've won, I guess, 2 out of 3 series so far this month, so that's good. But I wanted to check in. We're sort of at a crossroads here, and we can kind of look at a couple things that have happened since then. So first, we have the All-Star rosters. I'll just scroll through this like slowly if you want to look, just for your, I guess, own immersion into the series. But in terms of players from our team, obviously Paul Skeens is going to make it as a starter. And apart from that, I'm not sure we're going to have anyone else on here. No. So just Skeens. That's fine. We'll see about the prospect game as well. Let's go down to the National League. Bubba Chandler is there. That's great to see. Do we have anyone else, though? Connor Griffin is also there. Cool. So that's the All-Star update. Schwarber won the home run derby. We've been signing all of our prospects and putting them at the appropriate level. A couple of the college guys are going to get some A-ball reps. And then we've also just been, since we had our scout signed, we're also just having him canvass, kind of our whole organization to update scouting reports across every level. So that's sort of a work in progress. Just trying to learn more about all the guys we have on our rosters. But I wanted to check in also because we're sort of at a crossroads here with Nick Gonzalez. His rehab assignment is up, and I really want to slot him back into the major league lineup, obviously, with this bat. So I think it's time to actually make a move here with IKF. I think that's the pathway for him to see playing time. We move him up. Leo Verpagero slides over to shortstop, and we give Nick Gonzalez everyday reps at second base. So I've scoped out a couple trades that I think we're going to go ahead and execute here. The first is with IKF. So we had taken a look at Cleveland previously. You can notice my trade reputation has plummeted just because I've been inquiring about prospects and lopsided deals. So if we were to ship him off to Cleveland, they're willing to think about this. Again, their shortstop situation is a little bit dire. I mean, they have Rocchio, who is good on paper, but they're looking for a little bit of depth. He's having a slow start to the season, and I'm willing to talk myself into this because they're trying to move off of a prospect in Wilfredo Antunez, who is a little bit further away, and just a corner outfield bat. He's Rule 5 eligible. That maybe they have a logjam at outfield, and he doesn't really factor into their long-term plans. So I don't view this as too egregious. Cleveland is in a wild card position in our simulation, and Antunez, while he's likely not going to factor at all this year for us, maybe next year he's a fourth outfield type for us. I think we were dreaming on a little bit more center field upside than he may end up having. So who knows what will end up happening with him long term. But this is a deal I wanted to make just to sort of clear the path for IKF. So we're going to go ahead and complete that. And then I believe, he should go straight to AA, where he looks to be pretty capable. So we've done that. We moved off of IKF. We didn't have to retain any of his salary, which is nice. But I also have one more deal that I was able to cook up here. So where was it? This. So we're looking to move off of David Bednar. The Mets will only do this if we, eat a bunch of his salary. Let's see how much we can work this down. So 85% of his 1 year remaining salary. The Mets are obviously competing, trying to make a push for the playoffs. Their relieving situation is good, but it could be a little better. I think a year and a half of Bednar makes sense for them, and we're getting a super developmental prospect here with the 18-year-old Edward Lantigua. So I think it makes sense for them. I like this personality. I like the fielding upside. The bat could just be average kind of across the board, but total just like Hail Mary long shot here, but we're not competing in Bednar. I just worry if we don't move him now, his value is going to start slipping. We've already seen his ERA sort of rise in the couple of weeks we've been simming compared to where it started out in when we were just using the real world stats at the very beginning. So I think we should move off of him now, and I think the market for him wasn't tremendous. I wanted to send him somewhere realistic. And I think this is a pretty good return for us. So I tried to finesse a little bit more out of them, but then I was like, I don't want to rob them blind. So we're just going to go with this and complete this transaction as well. And so now they have Bednar. We bring in Lantigua, and I'm thinking he goes down to the DSL. Although let's just go ahead and do that if we can. So cool. We've made our moves. I don't think I'm going to move anyone else for the time being. I shopped Bailey Falter around a bit. There's not anything out there, and I've sort of come full circle on keeping Caleb Ferguson just because he has been so good for us, and it is tough to find lefty relievers of this caliber. He's not tremendously old. He's only 29, so we'll sort of see what his contract demands end up being once he comes off this $3 million 1 year for us. Maybe we look to bring him back next year, though, is essentially what I'm getting at. He's just been so good for us that I kind of want to play it out a little bit longer. But we're gonna move. We have some moves to make here, I guess. to sort of patch the holes, if you will, of the departures. So we're going to call up Nick Gonzalez, and then we still have one more spot as well. So we're going to need a pitcher from AAA, and I've already sort of eyed my guy here. We have so many players, like so much bloat in our system. It's a little crazy. Definitely need to cut some of these guys in the offseason. We actually never touched on Johan Oviedo, who's coming back from injury. He's only made one start at AAA, and I would like to work him in later in the season. But he's coming off of like a pretty big injury, Tommy John surgery. So we're going to let him work a little bit more. I'd like to get like 2 or 3 more starts in AAA before we think about bringing him back. But he's definitely noteworthy, still in arbitration. So we'll look to bring him up eventually. But the guy I wanted to bring up is Colin Holderman. He's like a proven major leaguer. This year in real life, he was not good for the Pirates. You can see this 2025 stat line here, 9 ERA with a 2 whip. But that's, real world stats. I think in the game he will likely play much better. And out of all the options available to us, I think he is the best. So I don't want to do this from the injured list screen. He's weirdly not on the 40-man. We only have, this was just how I loaded the game in, but 27 on our 40-man. So we actually need to like repurchase his contract, and then we'll bring him up to fill the pitching role for us. So I'm not sure who our other setup guy is going to end up being. If we look at just the relievers here and sort of who's been most dominant, I guess. There's not, like, Dari Moreta has not been great in the 4 innings since his return. I mean, he hasn't allowed a run, but the, it may just be such a small sample size that, I'm not, like, sure what we're going to do there. But if we have him as sort of like a righty specialist setup guy, and then Ferguson doubling as the lefty specialist setup guy, it could work. How's Holderman splits? A little bit better. Maybe we just give him leverage. We see if he can handle that for us. Because there is a little bit of marginal untapped potential, although, like I said, we don't really have great scouting accuracy on him yet. We'll just throw him there for the time being and see how this works out for us. Lineup-wise, we do need to make some changes. So, let's go ahead and flip Piguero to shortstop in both of these. And I think the plan is going to be to hit Nick Gonzalez lead off because he's decent at avoiding K and getting on base. He's got good ratings against both sides. Not a great stolen base threat, but if he ends up tapping into this eye a little bit more, I think it would be great to just get those doubles from the leadoff spot. So we need to figure out who's going to play backup shortstop, and I don't know that anyone is truly capable. Technically, Triolo, I guess. He's actually rated higher than Gonzalez is, so we'll give him backup shortstop, I guess, also. And weirdly, Ke'Bryan Hayes has actually been going off in the month of July. Yeah, he's WRC plus is 165 in the month of July through 10 games. So maybe he's back. I don't know. I guess we'll see what ends up happening there. But I think those are the updates for now. Let's see. We promoted our rookies. We've activated Gonzalez. We shifted our bullpen after the trades. We moved off of David Bednar and IKF. I think that's going to be all the moves that we make. So I guess next steps, we'll keep pushing through the back half of the season here. So maybe I'll check in with you toward the end of July, and we can kind of review how the team is doing. But I'll be right back. Okay, so just sort of going to wrap up here. We've finished out the month, and things have gone surprisingly well. Since we left off, we swept the White Sox. We took 2 of 3 against the Tigers, and then we swept Arizona as well. So 2 good teams here, 1 not so good, but and then we ended up losing 2 of 3 against San Francisco. But all in all, we've sort of turned things around here in July. We went 15-8 for by far our strongest month of the season. So it looks like we may be on to something with our lineup changes and coaching changes. So maybe a little bit of positivity here if we just kind of review sort of the stats from July and see who's hitting. I mean, pretty much everyone, right? Like, look at all of these positive numbers. The only anomaly would be Jared Triolo, who only 10 plate appearances, so maybe we ought to work him in more often in the depth charts. But everyone else is going crazy. Even, we have Tommy Pham out here, OPSing over 1,000. Brian Hayes, I think I mentioned that earlier. He has had a really good month. Nick Gonzalez has hit the ground running since he's been back. And everyone's sort of hitting across the board. So we really we like to see that. But I think we're going to leave it here for now. We're 48-61. Still last place in the division, although we are closing ground on Cincinnati, and we've moved up in the league rankings. I think when we started, we were just above the Rockies, and now we've vaulted the Nationals and the Marlins, so we're not quite at the bottom anymore. But we'll leave it here. Next episode, we'll plan to just finish out the season. I think we'll just sim through and do some box score watching, and we can do our September call-ups and kind of just maybe do a stat review toward the end and wrap up the end of year 1. But I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.